What's up guys and welcome back to the channel. This is your go-to guy DXYZ, and in this video let me take you on a grand tour of how I created this game here in Astrocade, time-lapse style. So let's get started. So for today's theme now would be a Dragon's Hoard treasure hunter. So for this game here, I'm going to be showing you how I create a RPG-like game using dragons as the common enemy of this game. And the background theme will be Dragon Cave. Gonna type in Dragon Cave as the background theme. And then while we're waiting for it, uh, I appreciate if you like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Alright, so I got this idea that I want to make a starting point, then the player has to make a decision if they want to speed up the progress, or they take the long route and progress with the story. So normally some players would just go straight away to the very ending if they are able to complete it in uh, less time. But of course, there's going to be some risks. Players opt to go to the long road, but they will be fully prepared at the end of every game. So that's what I'm aiming for. So I started with the starting point here, covering the starting point with lava stones and rocks. And this is what I mentioned. I'm making a wall path here, and then two entryways up and down. That is where the fork road is will be placed in. So I'm gonna be doing first the bottom side, which is going to be the long road that I was mentioning. So I'm extending this path here because I'm planning of placing some enemies above the small area here. That as you can see, I put a gap there, but I put mines there. They can be destroyed so that once it is destroyed, you can proceed to the small area here. There. Alright, so on this one here, it's just gonna be a little area where you're gonna be picking up your first weapon. So instead of just straightforward wander on this area, I just made a little maze here. So that's the dragon's sword. Backstory of it, that the Dragon Knight of Yo, the protagonist, has been captured, and the sword has been dropped here for no reason. So you're gonna get it, and then once you've got that, you're gonna come back here and you're gonna defeat one of these dragons. So they've been present in this scenario because this is a dragon-filled game. So I'm gonna scatter some dragons there, and that's gonna be your first obstacle. Alright, so the next thing that I want to do is I'm gonna change the arc here. So I changed the arc here for more visually, to make it look cool, yes. Okay, so next is we're gonna create a lava pool or a lava river. So again, I'm extending this, and well, this idea is from my previous game, another treasure hunter that I created last week, and I got that idea from that and I'm recreating it. So making a lava river for this part, but I got a little problem with getting that right lava design here, so I stopped with this one. Okay, so let me design now the base camp of the soldiers that I will be placing it here. So I'm trying to get the ballista design here, but as you can see, I have difficulty, and well, I went with what I think is best. So I just went with it. So these are what I got. Then I'm gonna make the bridge now. So I didn't have any problem with the bridge design, so this is the right thing. Alright, so I'm gonna set up some barracks here. So again, what I'm doing here is I'm creating the inner walls so that it will not just be passed through. Okay, because I plan to place weapons inside those barracks. As you can see, I'm placing another dragon sword. Well, all of them are dragon swords. That's because you're fighting dragons, so it's the right thing to fight them against me. Okay, so I'm done with the barracks here. Alright, so the next part now is creating this wall down here and extending the path over to this mountain. Now, I plan to make two paths from the right and the left, and they're gonna be intertwining on the very top. Because as I have said, the player will have the option to go straight forward to the third part or 3/4 of the game here, without having to go through the process of getting weapon, the base camp, and can go straight to this area that I'm making. But the risk is that he will be unarmed. The player will be unarmed, so that's going to be the biggest risk that he will have to take. And once they have died here from the enemies, they're going to go back to the starting point. Okay, so this part here is going to be a maze. Just like my previous game, I introduced this maze here, which is overlap a certain design that will hide the path. So this is where I'm going for. So I'm having some difficulty deciding what to do here. So I thought I could create the maze first instead of placing the designs first. So I'm enclosing this here. Then some part of the walls in the maze will be enclosed and be creating the pathway. So just like that. So I urge you to memorize this because I'm going to be filling this up so good that it will be harder to see, to navigate to where you will actually go to the end part. Alright, so that's done. So I'm trying to think of a great design here. And I switched to some of the styles because sometimes it's on, if I'm on 3D, then everything's on 3D. But if I am on pixel art, I get these tower designs that are the right thing or the right angle that I want it. So, okay, so that is now the maze here, and as you can see, if I placed all those designs, it will be hard to navigate and see the path. So might as well memorize them on this video for you to try it, or if you want to be adventurous enough to do, you can go ahead. Okay, so I'm now creating this path now. This is going to be a small path with an NPC that will be placing later, and this is going to be the final boss area for this game. And as I mentioned, dragons is going to be lurking on these parts. So I'm just going to cover this whole area with these 3 lava stones. Okay, so in this part, I plan to make three kinds of boss dragons. So the first one is crystals. We know that intense heat and pressure can create crystals over time. So I plan to make a crystal dragon on this area. And since we are in a volcano, of course there's going to be a fire dragon. And as well, since this is going to be a treasure hunter, seeking treasure, there's going to be a gold dragon. So I just randomly changed the tile shadings of this playing field with half of it is crystal, half of it is gold, and some of it are magnet tile sheets. Okay, so I'm now covering it up to make it like the ground is puffing off flames from the ground. Well, don't worry, there's going to be decorations. Then I'm going to be placing some gold mines on the left side, and now introducing our dragon bosses. So I didn't make them too hard for this. I did increase their health, but their resistance I made them low so that it's not that difficult for them to defeat. But they do pack a punch if you are not careful. And now here is our gold dragon, and I dubbed these three to be the Dogmatica trio. If you're familiar with the game Dragon's Dogma, I got that dogma meaning from that. I also remembered a Dogmatica meaning on a familiar game or a wide known game in Yu-Gi-Oh! If you know Yu-Gi-Oh! There is a Dogmatica meaning there, and I'm not sure if they are dragon related, but I got the idea, and I thought of use that here on my game. As I'm trying to think of cool names for this one. Okay. So while I'm rambling about it, you did saw I put in some collectibles there. Okay, so now we're gonna go in this area, and this will be the final area to design, and I plan on placing some knights on the right side and then dragons on the left side, as if they were battling out in this center area for dominance. So you see here that there's like other things like that. Those are arrows. I plan on like the motion of how arrows are flown. So that's how I place it at here. So now I'm gonna be creating the dragons. Well, don't worry, these are just walls, because while I was doing this, I thought of the idea of how can I interact them with the knights. So I've instead of making them square off to each other, I thought of making a wall of these dragons and the fire, and it's gonna be just a small maze, or not really a maze, like a path for the player to pass through there, as if the dragons will be allowing them to move forward from there. Alright. So now we're gonna be doing the NPCs now, basically. Okay, before that, let me move on to this one. So this is just gonna be a bit of decorative additions here, like putting this arc here, because it's gonna be a long walk from going to the upper part, so it's gonna be kind of more into useful. So I added a bit of things here to make it not sped up the game too much. doing some decorations now here. Then, okay, so now I'm going to be editing PCs. So again, the backstory of this game is when you start, you will be on the very center on the flag, and you will try to find your comrades who have been kidnapped by the dragons. So, as you wander over the map here and end up in the base camp, you can trigger some of the messages that Mrs. Spooky, giving a hint of what happened to your comrades, and one of them will tell you that they have been abducted or been carried by a dragon over to the mountain. So your mission right now is to go over the domain of the Dogmatica trios, and from there you will learn the truth of what happened there. So in this part again, this is where the sword of his comrade has fallen, and with that sword you can now fight these draglings. Okay. So I named the player's two friends will be Dragneel and Fiona. I don't know, I just thought of it randomly. I think Dragneel is when I was thinking of fairy tale, yeah, because there's a dragon there like Enlil, like the father figure of Natsu. So I just changed the wordings instead of Enlil, it's Dragneel. Fiona, well, it's common. It's a common name for mages, from what I've heard. Okay, then I'm gonna be placing a dragon knight here. It's like a knight for a human knight being corrupted by the dragons, and they now serve them. Okay, so I named that Valerius. Just think that came up the first name in mind. Okay, so I'm gonna be placing Fiona here, the elf mage. She will tell us that Neil has been possessed by the fire dogmatic spirit and has corrupted his soul to be turned into the fire dragon itself. So since the possession is irreversible, the only thing is to slay him. And here is the body of the dragon itself, where when you interact with the message zone, that's the player talking to the corpse. Okay, so next is scattering these dragon bloods for health, and then I'm going to be placing dragon boost ability here to strengthen the attacks of the player. Okay, so this is now how it looks like. So I go over here, and this is where the sword is. Going to the camp, crossing it over, and then here the knights and dragons fighting. The long road up, and the maze we have to go through, and then lastly is the boss battle. So shall we see a gameplay? Alright, so we go over on the bottom first. I did edit some things on this area because it's too crowded with the mines. So I got the dragon sword, destroy these draglings, interacting with the NPCs, then move to these. Okay, so apparently my knight just wandered off, so I don't know what happened. So move on to the maze. I talk over to Fiona and get the dragon boost, and then I battled 8 dragons here. Apparently, as I mentioned, they are strong. So I'm now going to be taking the shortcut, which is I do have now a weapon in hand, so I can now go into this area. Once again, on this maze here. Just one more drag. And aha, that got me the second time. So, third time's the charm. Going back again on this maze again. Hopefully, this will be the last time. And oh, okay, apparently I got the golden dragon. So I do now have the collecting range ability. So I'll just be collecting these collectibles. And that's it. So I hope that you enjoyed watching the video and you had a grand time of it. So thank you very much again for watching this video. This is your go-to guy DXYZ, and I'll see you on the next one.